Hello, I'm Dr. Baxter Bell for Chipper. In this segment, I'd like to share with you a simple practice based in yoga that you can do if you suffer from heel spurs, also known as plantar fasciitis. One of the things to keep in mind if you are already dealing with this is that the pain that you experience is usually centered on the heel of your foot, somewhere in this general vicinity. Usually, you'll notice it mostly when you first get out of bed in the morning and take those first steps to the bathroom. And after you've been up for a little while, sometimes the pain will subside. And then if you've been sitting for a while during the day and you go to stand up again after a period of being off your feet, you'll often feel the pain return. So it's this unusual intermittent sort of pain that usually affects you several times a day, but not necessarily continuously. However, those that have a pretty severe case of plantar fasciitis may find that it prevents them from doing things that they love, like hiking or running or biking, because of the pressure that that puts on the heel. So one thing to keep in mind, and one thing that's really lovely about yoga, is that some of our practices are done off of our feet. We take the pressure off the foot. That can actually promote some healing over time. So some of the things that we do reclining could be perfect ways to keep the foot and ankle mobile and flexible, while also allowing that area around the heel pad to settle down a little bit. The practice that I've chosen to share with you today is called strap to foot pose. In the full version, when people are very flexible, they actually just reach up with a finger and grab onto their big toe. You'll see what that might look like in just a second. Now, I don't have that kind of flexibility, so what I will recommend, and actually for everyone out there, I'd recommend you get a strap to use for this particular practice. So I'm going to make my way down into my back, and then I'll show you how to work with your foot once you get down. So coming down into what's known as constructive rest position, with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. We're going to, first of all, make sure we know where our strap is so we can use it easily. And the first thing I'm going to have you do is just bring the hands behind the leg for a moment and just play around with taking the leg up and down a few times just to release any tension that might exist in the hips, in the hamstrings, and in the knee. And even in doing that, I can feel some nice sensations all the way into the sole of my foot. So one of the great things about your yoga practice is that you'll get really good at noticing the subtle sensations and feelings that are present in your body, which can be very helpful if you're trying to recover from some sort of an injury or problem. So after doing that 5 or 6 times, you're going to go ahead and take your strap, and you're going to place the strap around the arch of the foot. So the pressure's not going to be on the heel pad, but the pressure from your strap is going to be on the arch of the foot. Once you have that set, depending on your flexibility, if your hamstrings are really tight and your knees really bent, you might let your leg come a little forward or vertical so that you can allow the knee to straighten all the way to work on this. If you're able to get it a little higher toward vertical, that's fine too. You can keep the bottom leg bent if you'd like, because we're actually going to be working on the top foot, or if it feels better for you to straighten the bottom leg, you can do that. So for today's purposes, we'll keep the bottom knee bent. Once you've got that set, one thing you can do is you can just take your strap and slide it up and down the foot a little bit, as if you're sanding the foot, and be careful as you get towards the heel pad. You might do it very lightly there, just to kind of notice what that feels like on the sole of your foot. Also, it tends to warm the sole of the foot. It invites a little more circulation into that area, and then pressing up into the strap a little bit. And then from here, we're going to work on some mobility. So you're going to press the ball of the foot up a little bit past the strap, and then you're going to draw the ball of the foot down carefully. Usually the drawing of the foot down is where you may feel more sensation across that heel pad. So do that with a mind towards noticing if that makes things feel better or worse. So we're going to press up and pull down a few times. You could even do that with your breath. You could inhale the ball of the foot up and exhale the ball of the foot down. After you've done that a couple times, then you're going to start to bring a little more of a rotational movement into the ankle, and I'm still pulling down on the strap to kind of anchor everything, to stabilize it, and then you can rotate in the opposite direction as well. Finally, keep the leg up for a moment, slip the strap off your foot, and just kind of notice. You could hold on behind the leg for a second just to stabilize it up there. Notice how the foot is feeling right now. Notice sensation or aliveness in the foot, and then just twinkle the toes a little bit, so just wiggle your toes. And then finally bend the knee and very lightly bring the foot to the floor. Bring the sole of the foot down for a second and just notice as you bring your weight back onto that foot how the heel pad is feeling right now. To do the second side, we'll bend the knee in. Some people get this on both sides. Fortunately, a lot of folks only get it on one side, but we'll do both sides just so you can go through that little routine one more time. So first interlace your fingers behind the left leg, inhaling the leg up, exhaling it down. And we'll do that several times to warm up the back of the leg, any muscles in the hamstring area, the buttocks area that might be a little bit taut or tight, just allowing those to loosen up. And in fact, when you have a lot of tension in those muscles downstream, it can actually pull all the way into the sole of the foot. So working on muscles that are near or even slightly away from the heel could have ultimately some benefit in the healing of that area. After you've done that about 5 or 6 times, then grab your strap again. Place the strap around the center of the foot. So you'll notice right now I'm more or less in the center of the foot. I'm not going to worry about my bottom leg, but I know that I could straighten that if I want to. Instead, we're going to really focus on the top foot. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to take that strap, and I'm going to go toward the ball of the foot first. It's almost like I'm sanding the sole of my foot. It actually feels kind of nice, sensation-wise. And then as I get near the heel pad, I'm going to be more mindful. I may or may not be able to pull down very hard, but I can also get a little bit of action, a little friction in that area to encourage warmth and circulation. And then finally, I'm going to bring the strap back to the center and just pull down a little more firmly. And then again, we're going to press the ball of the foot up, and then draw the ball of the foot down, pressing it up, and pulling it down. You could do that with your breath, inhaling the ball of the foot up, and exhaling it down. One more time in each direction. And then after you've done that pointing and flexing action, we're going to take the foot around in some circular action. So when we circle around, we actually are going to involve a lot more structures, a lot more of the muscles that are in the lower leg and travel into the foot, and then go the other way a couple times, just holding on a little bit with the strap to maintain the leg in space in a good way. Beautiful. And then you'll come back to center. At a certain point then, you're going to slip the strap off your foot, set the strap off to the side, and for a moment just hold on, just kind of noticing how everything feels right now. Any sense of aliveness or warmth or tingling that might actually feel kind of nice in the foot. And then eventually we'll bend the knee down and lightly bring the foot to the floor, noticing the sensation as you come down. So strap to foot pose with the foot actions, flexion and extension, and a little bit of circular action. Also warming up the legs before you go in and out. So to come out, when you're finally done, roll to one side and then come back up to sitting. A lot of times when you come up, you'll get more information in the legs and from the feet. So take a moment before you go to stand up. And because sometimes one's symptoms are noticeable when you stand up, when you take those first steps up to standing, notice how that area of the foot is feeling following your practice. So again, the pose that we've chosen today to address heel spurs or plantar fasciitis is called strap to foot pose, Supta Padangusthasana in the Sanskrit language. To complete your practice, you might now press on the app button for the relaxing breath practice. Thank you.